Thousands of Indian farmers have just ended a protest on railway tracks. It had disrupted services for hours. Thousands of security forces were deployed at railroad stations and those tracks. The protests by farmers are into their fourth month now. The Modi government says that the reforms will increase farmers' incomes, but the farmers, well, they're worried that they'll be at the mercy of large corporations. 11 rounds of talks have so far failed to produce any breakthrough.
किसानों ने ये तय कर लिया है कि ये 3 कानून वापस करने का मतलब हमारे जीवन से जुड़ी हुई है, हमारे भविष्य से जुड़ी हुई है, हमारी संतान से जुड़ी हुई है, हमारी आजीविका से जुड़ी हुई है। या तो हम रहेंगे या हमारी संपत्ति रहेगी, हम दोनों रहेंगे तो काम चलेगा देश का, नहीं तो देश में खाने को भी नहीं मिलेगा। ये आम आदमी भी भूखे मर जाएंगे। जब सारा माल सरमाएदारों के गोदाम में चला जाएगा तो मन मर्जी के भाव से बेचेंगे, आम आदमी भूखा मरेगा।
Rebecca Bundan joins us live now for more on this story from Mumbai. Rebecca, rail is a major transport mode in India. Did the protests cause a big disruption today?
Well, India's railways are often described as the lifeline of the country, so any disruption at all does cause problems. In this case, the protest that was planned with this rail blockade went on for about 4 hours, and it was supposed to be a nationwide protest, but what we really saw was that this was limited largely to particular states, that protesters were really most active in the states of Haryana, in Punjab, in Uttar Pradesh as well. These are the northern states where there are a lot of protesters that are involved in these protests around Delhi. So a spokesperson for the railways has said that the impact was actually minimal, but having said that, a number of trains did have to be stopped as a precaution. Some services were stopped in advance. Also, we know that several metro stations in Delhi were also closed ahead of the rail blockade taking place, again as a precaution. So clearly this did have an impact on a large number of passengers. And also what it's really a sign of is the fact that these protesting farmers are really trying to pick up momentum, boost some momentum behind these farm protests and keep them going. They've been going on now since November. And we've seen a series now of these large demonstrations, including the Republic Day demonstrations last month with that tractor rally, which ended in violence taking place, and also earlier this month, a nationwide road blockade as well. So clearly these farmers are not giving in, and they're continuing these protests and continuing to make these efforts as they try to keep the pressure on the Indian government and as they demand that these 3 new controversial farm laws are completely scrapped.
Well, the farmers certainly are not giving in, but we've had 11 rounds of negotiations so far and we're still here. So what can authorities do next?
There is this standoff between the protesting farmers and the government, and it's very difficult to see how this will be resolved because on the one hand, we have the farmers who are protesting. They're saying that they only want the laws completely rolled back. They're not settling for anything else. The government has offered to put the laws on hold for up to 18 months, and that's kind of the last proposal that it's made to farmers, but farmers are not accepting that. The government doesn't want to give in because it says that these 3 new farm laws will actually benefit the agriculture sector, which it is in need of some kind of reform, analysts say, and that it will boost farmers' profits and help boost incomes because it will bring in what the government says, it will bring in much needed investment and technology into the sector. But the protesting farmers are arguing that it will mean that corporates will take over the sector and that they'll impact their prices. And they worry that this will spell the end of the government-backed systems, which a lot of them depend upon, including the minimum support prices, the wholesale government agriculture markets, and particularly these farmers from states including Haryana and Punjab, which is where a lot of the protesters are from. They are grain-producing states, and they are very dependent on this system. There's also the Supreme Court appointed panel that's looking at this as well, so it remains to be seen what will come out of that. But at the moment, there is this standoff, and it's very difficult to see an end in sight. And the farmers are, as we see with this latest rail protest, they're continuing their demonstrations.
Many thanks for that update, Rebecca. Rebecca Bundan there in Mumbai.